Welcome. I'm in Bikini Bottom once again, only this time I am at Kamp Koral. That's right, I am here. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another installment of BrickWall Reviews. I'm Dave, and tonight I'm going to be talking to y'all about the third SpongeBob movie to be released theatrically, which is the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run. If I look a little choppy, it's because this underworld connection is a little strange. But like I said, I'm here at Kamp Koral. We're having a good time here. But the movie I'm going to be talking to y'all about, while I sit here and try to double check, make sure that I'm not looking too choppy. Am I looking too choppy? Okay, no, nothing wants to work for me. All right. Anyway, so what I'm gonna be talking about is the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run. This is the 2020 released SpongeBob movie that was meant to come out theatrically, came out theatrically in a few markets, but overall was kind of stunted a little bit due to the pandemic at the time. So yeah, it was stunted due to I'm sorry, I just had to make sure it was good. But it was stunted due to the pandemic. So it kind of came out on like VOD and video on demand, Paramount Plus eventually. So this movie did have quite the journey to being seen, but the journey, does the end justify the means? That's what I'm here to talk to you about. Before I get into it any further, I want to remind you guys, go ahead and hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if not already subscribed. Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and make sure you guys, I know y'all probably saw me going live last night on both Twitch and here on YouTube. Last night I made it out to Nerd Wednesdays. They just started back up in Lumberton, out around the general area where I'm at, Lumberton, New Jersey. Yeah, they had a party. They had a Christmas party last night. It was really fun. We did some bingo, some karaoke, and on our channel we did a tier list. We talked to different people that were attending the event, and we talked about where we would rate certain movies and things like that. In Christmas specials and stuff like that. So it was a really fun time. Make sure you guys check that out. I'm actually in the process of having some clips edited so I can throw up some pieces of the content so you guys can get a little taste of what we did last night. So shout out to Nerd Wednesdays. Make sure you go follow them there on social media at Nerd Wednesdays if you want to keep up with what they do. But besides that, let's jump into this review. So the SpongeBob movie, this is, like I said, Sponge on the Run. This one is the most while the second one was kind of divisive, I would say that this one was I don't know. I would say that this one was more so disliked by a lot of people. And initially I was quite intrigued by what was going on with this movie. But having sat here and gone through my rewatch, I did kind of notice a couple things, and I did kind of understand why this movie wasn't looked upon so fondly. So I will be getting into that. But first, I think I need to leave Kamp Koral because I realize it's a little choppy down here in this connection. Connection is not the best. So let me leave up out of here, out of Kamp Koral, and go back to maybe Bikini Bottom. Let's go. All right. Are we better here in Bikini Bottom? Reception is better in Bikini Bottom. We looking better? We feeling better? Big guy, big guy, big guy, big guy. All right, let me stop. But of course, for those of you who don't know, I'm talking about these SpongeBob movies in preparation for the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants, which releases tomorrow at the time of this recording. December 19th is the date for the release of the SpongeBob movie. What did I say it was called? Search for SquarePants. And so far that movie's getting like really great reviews too. So I'm very excited to see it. I'll be seeing it tomorrow, and the review will be up this weekend. So I cannot wait. I'm very excited for that. But getting into this movie. So like I said, Sponge on the Run. This movie follows SpongeBob as he is looking for his pet snail Gary, who has been kidnapped and taken to the lost city of Atlantic City. And now SpongeBob and Patrick must go there and save him from the King Poseidon. This time it's not King Neptune. This time it's King Poseidon. That's the way they say it in the movie. But Yeah, so meanwhile, everyone goes out to search for SpongeBob. They go to look for him. Where'd SpongeBob go? They find out he's down in the Atlantic Sea. We'll get into that more. But let's start from some of the positives I have about this movie, and I'll be talking about how the movie plays out overall. So um one of the positives I have to say about this movie is that the animation on this is gorgeous. Oh my gosh, like this is the first fully 3D CGI SpongeBob movie to come out. I know the other ones had partial, well, the other one, Sponge Out of Water, had a little bit of CGI in there, but all right, let me leave Bikini Bottom. I'm choppy down here too. Let's see. All right, I'm back in the studio. Back in the stew. Back in the stew. All right, here we go. I'm back up on the surface. So the I like being at Kamp Koral. I'm not gonna lie, it was fun. I might go back there before the interview. But I just didn't want to look so choppy, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, so where the second one had like segments that were 3D CGI and stuff like that. This one, the entire movie is in CGI. And this was, I hate to throw this term around. It's probably the first time I'm throwing this term around. I hate to do this, but this has that lower frame rate animation, which many people refer to as the Spider-Verse style, which honestly, if you kind of look at when I was down here at Kamp Koral, how it was a little bit more choppy, you know what I'm saying? Frame rate's a little lower, the movement, stuff like that. In animation, that's called well, I don't know what the frame rate is exactly, the numbers and everything like that, but you get a lower frame rate, which allows you to do different things in the animation medium, as opposed to the more smooth moving. Wow, this actually turned out to be a very nice little lesson here, somewhat. This is a very like a very, very super duper watered down version of what that type of animation style is. But it is commonly referred to as the Spider-Verse style because Spider-Verse was the most popular movie to utilize that style, and you have movies utilize that ever since. That said, that animation style really fits SpongeBob very, very well. And the animation studio that did this was like they were on some next level stuff, because this movie looks so, like I said, this movie looks very, very good. This movie gives SpongeBob like a lot of texture in his appearance. It gives all the characters different types of textures, and the colors. It's a very colorful film. The colors pop. The way the characters move and express and emote in this are really, really good. Like, it's just the animation, the character design in this movie is wonderful. It's excellent. I love it so much. This is such a visual treat for SpongeBob, and I wish I was actually able to see this on the big screen as it was intended to be seen. In fact, I kind of want to know, like, sometimes they do like the summer movie series. If I ever see this movie being played at a summer movie series where you go pay like the $1 or whatever, take your kids to go see a movie that's already been out, but you're just going for the theater experience, I would actually go. And I think I might have missed when it's played in theaters, but if I see it again, I'm definitely going to go, because I would love to see this movie on a big screen. It was very nice. It looks amazing. And that said, that is probably one of the 3 compliments I have. So that's compliment number 1. Compliment number 2 for this movie is that while I did say that Sponge Out of Water was a celebration of the entire SpongeBob series, Sponge on the Run kind of has that one beat. There are so many, and I mean so many Easter eggs, references, callbacks, so many that date back to the first episode of SpongeBob. There's so much in this movie that celebrates the history, or that acknowledges the history of SpongeBob, that it's like it was kind of mind-blowing. I was like, wow, I forgot that was an episode. I forgot that's something they say. Like Squidward says this line, "Another day, another migraine," and it's like that's like one of his like OG lines to say. Plankton with his stupid automated coin machine, like it's things like that are very fun. So this movie starts off, and one of the weird things I found about this movie is that it does 2 things in the opening narration, right? One, it completely changes the narrator. So it's not the French narrator for the beginning of the movie. Bikini Bottom. Like, it's not, you don't get that. I'm sorry if my French narration voice was off, but so it's not that. It's more like in the sea, you have wonderful beyond the coral reefs. Like, it's like a more like like a proper narration voice as opposed to the French narrator that we're so used to in the SpongeBob series, which was kind of jarring. Um, this movie, I will say, definitely feels the most Hollywood that SpongeBob has felt in this entire movie trilogy at this point. It definitely feels like, because Hans Zimmer does the score, right? And I know I'm kind of going to be all over the place, but I do have a lot of thoughts on this, so just stick with me. Hans Zimmer does the score. You have a lot of celebrity cameos, which I will definitely touch on, because that, I think that opened up a door that I don't think is going to shut anytime soon. When it relates to SpongeBob movies. And it had pop culture references, music, all that types of stuff. And this soundtrack for this movie was the most stacked since Sponge Out of Water, when they had Pharrell do like 3 or 4 songs, pretty much an EP's worth of music for that movie. This one has people like, it had Snoop Dogg. It has this, I forgot what the group's name is, but they do a song for it with Snoop Dogg. You have Weezer. Weezer's done music for SpongeBob before though, so that's not nothing new. That's not anything new. Then you have Bad Bunny does a song for this movie, which plays over the credits, and Sway Lee has a song on this as well. So it's like, and I think one other person has a song, but I can't remember whom. But yeah, so this movie definitely does pull a lot of pop culture references and a lot of needle drops with the music. Like they play Living La Vida Loca at one point, and they play Take On Me at the end. You know, take on me, take on me, take me. All right, I'm not gonna do that. But anyway, so it does a lot of pop culture stuff, which is a little interesting for SpongeBob. And I'll get into kind of like why I feel like that was a choice to do that. But the movie starts off with Plankton once again is up to his old tricks of trying to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. And he just thinks that, hey, I just gotta one up Mr. Krabs, and I'll get that formula with my brand new plan. I can't do a good Plankton right now. But he has it pointed out to him by Karen, his computer wife, that it's not Mr. Krabs that stands in his way. It's SpongeBob. SpongeBob's the one that is the main foil to all of Plankton's plans. Plankton's like, it's no way that boob is my major foil. Look at him. He's fucking SpongeBob. Like, there's no way. So, so Plankton gets in there, tries to do the recipe. And of course, inadvertently, I think SpongeBob really did do that on purpose. But Plankton's plan ends up getting spoiled. Oh, wow. That sounds like a tongue twister. Plankton's plan got spoiled. Plankton's plan ends up getting spoiled. No, just the Plankton's plan part. Okay, I'm sorry, I got off of track. Plankton's plan ends up getting spoiled. And it was because of SpongeBob. And so Plankton's trying to figure out, how do I get rid of SpongeBob? At the same time, you have King Poseidon, who is using. I don't know if I want to spoil that. I don't know if I want to spoil that aspect of it, but you have King Poseidon. I can't even say that word. You have King Poseidon, who is like this really vain, really self-centered king of the sea, which I know if you guys have been watching SpongeBob for a long time, it's like, well, what the hell happened to King Neptune? So what I think this movie does very interestingly is that it establishes more lore. It establishes that there's more than one king of the sea. You can look at it like that, or you can look at it as this is an alternate universe of SpongeBob. And there's one very big reason you can look at that I'm going to dive into. I promise we got a lot to cover with this movie. So pretty much Plankton ends up getting Gary kidnapped. Well, ends up kidnapping Gary and pretty much giving him to King Poseidon. And it's up to SpongeBob and Patrick to go and find him. And while SpongeBob and Patrick are out going to find Gary, Plankton goes and acts his plan to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula. Basic SpongeBob premise of when it involves the Krabby Patty formula. But where this movie becomes interesting is, it's just how the journey along the way turns into the one thing that so many people hate about this movie, which is it turns into a backdoor pilot, aka a big advertisement for what was what would end up becoming the moderately lived series Kamp Koral. And for those of you who don't know, Kamp Koral was pretty much a prequel series to SpongeBob, where it shows pretty much all the SpongeBob characters uh, having met in camp and being friends in camp before they grow up and be, the friends and the characters that we know and love through the series. They in that show themselves, they do a retcon of a lot of events. And now it kind of seems like SpongeBob has a loose continuity going on. They do have, like, in the newer episodes, they do have a lot of things that tie into Kamp Koral and then the Patrick Star Show, and now it ties into the SpongeBob main series, and it's just a lot. So another reason I'm kind of excited to see the SpongeBob movie tomorrow is because, just like outside of it being SpongeBob, and I do enjoy his movies, I do want to see if they are going to kind of tie this into what is becoming a SpongeBob timeline. Okay, and I'm not going to get too much into that because there's a lot of nooks and crannies that I'm not too familiar with, but look it up somewhere. I'm pretty sure you can find it. I think now that there has been a SpongeBob timeline reset, canonically a SpongeBob timeline reset, which requires me to utilize the word canonically. Yes, there is SpongeBob canon now. Like, there are things that happen that are canonically linked and that fit into a somewhat of a fixed timeline. Again, look it up, okay? Because there's a lot. So, but getting back to the movie, it does establish like this whole Kamp Koral thing, and pretty much says that SpongeBob met everybody when they were kids in that camp. Which, if you're a SpongeBob fan and but haven't seen the more recent things, then you know that this is a big glaring issue because Sandy and SpongeBob didn't meet at camp. Sandy and SpongeBob met in the second episode of the series, Tea at the Tree Dome. And that was the first time SpongeBob has ever met Sandy. But like I said, there are explanations. I promise you there are explanations within the series itself. Look it up. But this movie is notorious for being a big advertisement for the Kamp Koral series, and a lot of people weren't too fond of that, and mostly because this movie's plot just felt so reminiscent of a special, Gary Come Home, or Where's Gary rather, in which Gary ran away from home and SpongeBob had to go find him and all that good stuff. But I will say that the glaring difference between Where's Gary and Sponge on the Run is the fact that in Where's Gary, Gary ran away. And in Sponge on the Run, Gary was kidnapped. So there's a small difference, but there's a difference. There's a difference between I'm looking for you because you ran away and I'm looking for you because you were kidnapped. There's two different things. So this movie is not necessary, because I even thought that at one point. I was like, yo, it's just the Where's Gary episode just extended. Like, that's kind of odd that they did that. Aren't there other stories you can tell? Should they stop making SpongeBob movies? But when I actually looked and I actually paid attention, and of course, when I actually did look at some posts on the internet talking about the movie, I won't discredit that. But I learned that this movie is actually it's a fresh plot. It's a fresh plot. It just seems familiar because it is SpongeBob and Gary, and SpongeBob looking for Gary. And the only significant time we've ever had SpongeBob look for Gary was the Where's Gary special, and that was such a big moment. Like, that's one of the SpongeBob specials that is held in high regard, especially because of the song Gary, Gary Come Home. Like, it's an iconic moment in SpongeBob for sure. But so that's one of the things but even with that, like, this movie could have definitely been like really strong on the front of it just being that. It exploring, King Poseidon and exploring some of the things that it does kind of loosely set up for it to be a better movie. But it's like it all leads up to them setting the stage for there to be a Kamp Koral TV show. Them setting the stage to get you interested to see more adventures of SpongeBob Jr., SpongeBob babies. Like, and that's the biggest problem with this movie. But although that's the biggest problem with this movie, it's not the worst problem that this movie has. The worst problem that this movie has is that so there's a portion of this movie, as with all the SpongeBob movies, they end up going on land or interacting with humans, and the human is usually like a big celebrity cameo. In the first one, it was David Hasselhoff, and the second one, it was Antonio Banderas. But this movie, in a big attempt to outdo all the other movies and outdo, any other SpongeBob lore that came before it, it has Keanu Reeves as Sage, who is a sage that kind of gives them guidance to, help find Gary. And then you have Danny Trejo, who plays, I guess, El Diablo. That's how they do it in the movie too. So don't think I'm tripping. They say El Diablo. So that Danny Trejo plays that character. Brief cameo. Snoop Dogg is in this movie as well. And let's see. So those are just the live action portions. So let me stick on the live action portions real quick. So this movie is where I start to get tired of SpongeBob's having the movie. You know what that means? He's going to go on land and interact with people for all of 5 minutes, and just to pull the gimmick of, we can't do this one on TV, but we can do it in the movie. Okay, so it was cool the first time. The first time was amazing. The second time, they had a pretty good reason. They did the whole superhero thing. They did it, and it was nice. For what it was cool. And then again, that was the first SpongeBob movie we had in like over a decade. So cool. But this one came out like short. Like this, it's been 5 years since this movie came out, and from between 2014 and 2020, that was a 6-year gap. Okay. I feel like, and I do know there was a version of one of the SpongeBob movies, maybe the second one, maybe this one. I think it was the second one that had the characters going on land and interacting with humans for a good chunk of that film. That would have been cool to see. I feel like we're at the point with SpongeBob movies where if you're going to do the live action thing, why not just go all the way? Just make a movie where SpongeBob and his friends, SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, Sandy, Gary, Plankton, whatever, like whatever characters you want to pair with SpongeBob, they go on land. It most likely be SpongeBob and Patrick, though, right? They go on land and they interact with humans, and they're interacting with humans for the duration of the movie. As much as we don't like this movie, as much as a lot of people don't like this movie, do a Smurfs, pull a Smurfs with SpongeBob. And by that, I mean, the characters came from the underwater world. They've gone onto the surface. And it's not like you have to do like a big stretch of logic. It's just, hey, they were underwater. They came onto the surface, just like you did in Sponge on. Matter of fact, Sponge Out of Water, when they first came onto the surface and they interacted with people, but not necessarily. They were just amazed, like, whoa, who's this? Maybe we can ask this guy. He has 5 heads, but it was just his foot and it was toes. But they're not used to seeing people, and so like they interacted with people a little bit, but like it wasn't like oh my gosh, who are you? Hi, I'm SpongeBob. Hey, I need your help. Like I'm looking for I don't know, I'm looking for an item or a Krabby Patty. A piece of the Krabby Patty formula. Can you help me? And they're like going through New York or Los Angeles or Hawaii or something like that. And it's an adventure. But what this movie does, it made me upset because I'm watching it. At first, I really did like this part. I really did like this part of the movie where they go and save. They have the dream, and they go in there with Danny Trejo's character and Snoop Dogg's character and stuff like that. At first, it was just wacky to me, and I was really down for it. But rewatching this movie, I was like, well, hold on. Why don't they just like, they don't have to do the live action thing. They don't have to always do that. But if you're going to keep doing it, why not just make an entire movie? Like I said earlier, why don't you just make an entire movie with him going on surface and interacting with humans and having an adventure up there? Why not just do that? Instead of having to find a way to ham fist in, the spectacle of them going on land. It's amazing. And we can only do this in a movie. And we'll get celebrity cameos and blah, 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 blah. Like, no, just make a whole movie out of it. And then you can hire you can get good actors to go, and you can even get like twice the cameos you would ever have to get. You can get like a whole bunch of singers, a lot of celebrities. You can get like newscasters from like famous news broadcasts, sports players. You can get all types of things. And I feel like that opens the door for a different type of scenario, a different type of story, a different type of comedy, a different type of rhythm for SpongeBob that would then show that, yo, this is worthy of the big screen, right? Like this is doing something different. This is keeping this brand alive, because watching SpongeBob movies now at my age, and I was a kid when SpongeBob first started, it's like watching a character. It's like, I guess this will be like, I don't know, maybe like when people who were born with The Simpsons, watching The Simpsons is just like, wow, they're still on. Like, wow, that's interesting. But I guess like the key difference for me is just like, wow, like you can see how corporate SpongeBob starts to feel at times. Like I talked about the Sandy Cheeks movie, and I'll say how horrible that movie was, but it's because it felt so corporate. And this movie feels corporate, but like not in like a bad way, but not in a good way either. It's like the middle ground, because this movie it has great jokes. It's pretty well written in some areas. The animation, like I say, is beautiful. And I mean, the fact that they got this all-star cast is actually pretty interesting too. But in the fact that it was the last SpongeBob, well, one of the last SpongeBob pieces that Steven Hillenburg worked on before he passed. Yes, Steven Hillenburg, the creator of SpongeBob, was very well aware of Kamp Koral and was very well aware of the direction that this movie took. So this is not a spit on the grave of Steven Hillenburg. Steven Hillenburg was very well aware of these things happening. He just was not, unfortunately, he was not around to be a part of the production and maybe steer the ship in a different direction, or maybe offer some different types of feedback, or whatever the case may be. He's just not around to really see it and speak on it and be involved in it and whatever the case may be. Rest in peace, Steven Hillenburg, which this movie is dedicated to, which is sweet. But yeah, this is really cool. I like this movie. I don't love it. I like it. And I think a lot of me liking this movie comes from the fact that the animation is freaking gorgeous. There are some good jokes in this. I'm kind of hard pressed to remember a moment that I really do enjoy. Although a scene that I enjoy is, and it's so weird that a couple of times in this movie, particularly in this scene where SpongeBob talking about going to rescue Gary, it's like they give SpongeBob like this very, and I mean very noticeable lisp, like to where he's talking and his tongue is animated, going like while he's talking and saying certain words, like, and like his tongue is animated like that. That was crazy what I did, right? It was crazy. Pause if necessary. Yeah, so it kind of showed like his like that he has like a lisp, and they even go to extra mile. Like Tom Kenny does a lisp with these, like King Poseidon. Like it's like, wow, SpongeBob has a lisp. That's an interesting development that is only brought up once in one scene and not really addressed in any other scene. Like you don't see him with the lisp in any other scene, but it's really just that scene. It's very interesting. Let's see. What else do I have to say about this film? Like it's just really mixed for me. Like the references were cool. Some of the other celebrities that are in this movie, you have Tiffany Haddish, who plays Tiffany Haddock, which is a fish pun, if you didn't know. And the Matt Berry does the voice of King Poseidon, which he did the voice of Bubbles the dolphin in Sponge Out of Water. So I guess that's interesting. Let's see. I don't think there are any other. I know I said Keanu Reeves, Danny Trejo, Snoop Dogg, Tiffany Haddish. Kenny G is in this movie, right? The famous saxophone player. He's in this movie, Kenny G. Let me think. Who else was a cameo in this movie? I was like a famous celebrity in this movie. I think that's really it. But it's just interesting that Reggie Watts. Reggie Watts was playing King Poseidon's like right hand man, his squire. And they have some pretty funny moments too. He's like, you have to sign all these decrees and my paycheck Oh, you always look so far into the future for things. Just live in the moment, or something like that. He said to him. But I thought that moment was pretty funny. I actually liked Reggie Watts' character in this movie. I thought he's funny. Tiffany Haddish was just such an odd addition, but it was still pretty funny. And I think that this movie kind of opened up having more and more celebrity cameos in movies. I know in the newer one that's about to come out, I know that there are some celebrity cameos in here that I'm not going to spoil, but everyone knows about Ice Spice being in that movie. I'm not going to say anything about it until I see the movie. Okay, I'm not going to say anything about it until I see the movie. I cannot be unfair. So, getting back to wow, I'm here longer than I thought. Getting back here to Sponge on the Run. Yeah, I mean, like the road trip journey, it's fun to see SpongeBob and Patrick paired up again. It's definitely fun to see them in this animation style. And really, honestly, a lot of the movie works. I know I keep harping on this, but a lot of the movie does work because of the animation. Like, if it wasn't such a visual treat, this movie would not be as good as I think it wants to be. It's definitely not as good as it could be. Like I said, the Kamp Koral stuff the Kamp Koral stuff is cute, and I like it to an extent, but I feel like the show itself would have been stronger because they went out of their way. They cast like these kids to voice them, and like the kid SpongeBob voice and the kid Squidward voice were like two of the best kid cat. Like they were like you can hear like. Especially like the kid SpongeBob, he did like the like I'm like, yo, like shit, you can probably just grow up to be Tom Kenny's version of SpongeBob. And it's almost like Roger Bumpus like maybe even took his own kid and said, yo, go do the Squidward voice. Like you're my son, go do the Squidward voice. Yeah, like all like stuff like that was really interesting. They do sing like a cheesy song. The secret of the formula is you. It's like that moment. Oh God, that moment is just like when I first saw that moment, I remember I was like, what? Oh, this is so corny. That's so corny that they're doing this right now. Like, why are they like oh, SpongeBob, the secret of formula is you. We love you, SpongeBob. You don't deserve to be executed because of whatever is going on in the movie. I won't spoil the plot, but yeah, it's I don't know. Like this movie is what everybody accuses Sponge Out of Water of being. This movie is all over the place. This movie is unfocused. This movie is just an obvious cash grab, right? But it still has a charm. And there's a line reading in this by Roger Bumpus, who plays Squidward. That is just, oh my God, that line reading. He really put his emotion into that. It was a pivotal moment. When you hear it, you'll know it. You'll be like, damn. The way he said that, I felt that. But yeah, nah, it's I mean, it's the SpongeBob movies inherently are not bad movies. And I mean, obviously they're not bad movies. People love them. You know, except for this one. This one's really kind of more on the dislike train than anything. But I mean, even for a SpongeBob movie, though, this one just was like, this ain't it. This for me, this one's not it. I didn't think that this movie was really. I think it had potential that it could have lived up to. I think that it could have been executed better, and I feel like, I mean, they did. I mean, it's not awful. It's just not. It's the least favorable of the SpongeBob movies for me thus far, and I think it will remain in that direction, in that lane. It's just like I said again, the thing that saves it the most is the animation. Like, oh my God, this movie is just beautiful to look at. I love watching this movie because I love looking at it because it's such eye candy. Because everything, the textures, I know I'm saying this I'm saying this a lot, but it's true. Like this. Oh, I forgot one other person that was in this movie. Y'all ready for this one? If y'all don't know, now you're gonna know. Are y'all ready? Aquafina. That's right. Aquafina is also in this movie. I don't know why, but that's why I said this movie kind of feels a little bit more corporate. And I honestly, after this fourth SpongeBob movie, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy, I would not mind if they just made SpongeBob movies, but maybe not so much the TV series, because he's becoming this. I mean, because the episodes are still, I don't know. This is a whole nother conversation to have tomorrow. Okay. But for right now, I'm gonna cut myself short because I feel like I'm gonna keep talking in circles. So the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, if you want to watch it, it's now available on Paramount Plus. If you have it, my rating for this film, let's get into what the critics say about this. This has a 66% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is the lowest. Hold on, let me look at Sponge Out of Water. What's Sponge Out of Water have compared? Sponge Out of Water has 80%, and the SpongeBob movie has 68%. So Sponge on the Run is 66%. So it's the lowest rated of the three SpongeBob movies, right? And that's just critics on Rotten Tomatoes and everything. I know the fans have different opinions. I have different opinions. 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb. Me personally, I gotta say, this is about a solid 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 stars for me. A solid 3. It's like right down the middle. Like, I don't hate this movie by any means at all. I do enjoy this movie for all the reasons I told you, but I also dislike this movie for all the reasons I told you. It's a commercial for Kamp Koral. It's riddled with so much corporate Hollywood stuff, and when it gets unfocused, like that whole Atlantic City thing where they go and gamble and stuff like that, although it was entertaining, it was a bit funny, it just goes so far out the way. The needle drops are just so like odd in SpongeBob. But it's still a fresh approach to a SpongeBob movie. So it's like, that's why I say it's like right in the middle. Okay. Out of 5 stars, it's right in the middle out of 3 out of 5 stars. But I would like to know, what do you guys think of the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run? Did you think it was good? Did you think it was bad? Did you think it was right in the middle like I do? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. And stay tuned for some of those uploads from the Nerd Wednesdays. Yeah, I think that's it. So I will be back this weekend with 2 reviews. I'll be back with my review for the SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants. I'm excited about that. And on Sunday, I'll be back with another review for the 25th anniversary of a movie that I love so much. And if you watched the stream last night, you know what it is. But if not, gotta figure it out on Sunday. But that's all I have for you guys. Until next time, y'all, be easy, stay breezy. Go back to camp. Hold on. I'm gonna go back to camp before I leave. Hold on. I'm gonna go back to camp before I leave. Go back to camp before I leave. Come on. I'm gonna go back to camp. I'm gonna go back to camp. They're not gonna take me back to camp. All right, take me back to camp. All right. So y'all, until next time, be easy, stay breezy, and peace, man. I'll see y'all in the pineapple under the sea.